Okay, so what's funny?
Here we are.
Yes, welcome back.
Thank you.
You look ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Let's go.
There was so much great information that was shared the first time. Well, I shouldn't say the first time. The last time we sat down and spoke. And there's still some unanswered questions. There are some unanswered questions. There is more that we can dig into. And, quite frankly, this is an area that is, plaguing many people, women and men alike. And it's bringing me back to a conversation that you and I had very early on when we started working together. And of course, I knew all of your goals, or I shouldn't say I knew all of your goals. I knew what your business goals were. And you're probably going to remember we were in the car headed to the Hamptons, going to a huge fundraising event in the industry. And I shared with you at that time, because we had started to formulate some things. And I think at that point we had co-founded Hip Hop Sisters Foundation. And I also think at that point, we had already had plans to give away a $100,000 scholarship.
Yes.
So things were moving.
Yes, they were.
Pretty fast.
Yeah.
And dreams were being manifested. And I remember saying to you, one of the dreams that you haven't talked about is you having a family, having love in your life. I don't know about children, but, I remember a conversation also where I said, at some point, it's great when we're all moving around in our 20s and 30s and 40s and we're footloose and fancy free. But one day you're going to be 80, 90 or 100 and you're going to need some help. Because my kid's going to be busy working on me.
With you.
or my significant other, what have you. And shockingly, you told me that you weren't interested. And I thought, wow, she is afraid. I mean, I had never heard anyone say out loud that they weren't interested in the companionship, community, connection. And it was just shocking to me that you thought it was okay to be in a space in your life where you could just say for the rest of your life, I'm good. I'm just me by myself.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Well, at the time when I said it, I really believed it.
What did you believe?
I believed that I could just, be and not be responsible for other people.
Oh, so that's what it was.
Yeah, that and, well, because, all things living require attention. From people to plants to animals. They have to be fed and spoken to, and there has to be interaction. And I think at the time when you and I started working together, I had just come off of a little bit of a roller coaster with other management, with relationship. And I just felt like, it seems like it would just be easier to go this path alone. And I remember running into this beautiful, she must have been Caribbean or African, older woman at the airport as we were going through security. And she just had this smile on her face. And I said to her, well, look at you. Why are you so happy? And she said, my husband left me. And I said, what? She said, 18 years ago. And I was just like, okay. She said, I just move. I do what I want to do when I want to do it. And it's great. And I said, oh, okay. And that is a way to look at life. Some people can be happy, but let's quantify it though, because we don't know. Perhaps he was physically abusive. Perhaps just the freedom from being physically abused was enough to be happy every single day, 365 days a year, 18 years later. And but that's a worthy experience to have. But I always wonder,
what's beneath that statement.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what? The truth is, I may have felt like that then, but I don't feel like that now.
Yeah.
You know? And so, I just thought it was really admirable that you even thought of that for me.
Wow.
You know, and I remember you saying to me, "You're going to make a good wife." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I've had people tell me before, you know, you would make a good mom. In those ways where I like to take care of things, and
I don't know about mother.
You know what?
Let me tell you, we gonna tell the truth right here today.
I will not leave the baby at the baggage claim.
I don't know what you will do, okay? Based on your history.
Right. No, I'm saying I had a dream one time that I was babysitting someone's child and I left them at the airport. And it wasn't until I got home I was like, oh.
You left the baby at the airport?
In my dream.
Yeah. Well, dreams sometimes have a way of telling us what is really happening in real life.
It could have been a baby, like a creation or something of that effect that I did not take care of. Yeah. That was the point. I didn't claim responsibility for what it was that I was supposed to be taking care of. Yes. Was the dream. That's what came for me in the dream as I tried to dissect it.
Well, but let me just stop for a minute though, because to just, clarify something, I do think you would have been a great mother. That's what you chose to do with some help.
Thank you.
Wait, hold on to your thank you.
No help is good.
With some help. With a lot of help.
Okay.
Because, see, you didn't even believe in homework. Yeah. There's a video. We're going to let the people see the video. You talking about you would not help your children with their homework.
Oh, yeah, no.
You said homework is what do they learn in school?
Right. They do the work in school. Why are you putting it at home? That's fair. We already working jobs at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever wondered how best to take care of your hair? Have you wondered why your hair responds to one kind of product, but your best friend's hair responds to another? Better yet, what about your siblings' hair? You came from the same parents, but your hair is so different. Well, guess what? MYAVANA is the world's first AI texturized hair care analysis system. Get a strand analysis and get personal recommendations for your hair care.
No, but it takes a village to have the children. But in terms of you, yes, I wanted you to have connection, family. Because at a certain age, a lot of us. Well, you're an only child, so we'll let's talk about that. In just a moment. But although I have younger brothers, I grew up feeling like an only child. I grew up feeling like my brother that's closest in age to me, who was 7 years younger. I transferred us to another school when I was 11. So I've always felt responsible. I was 11, he was 4.
Right.
So, basically I paved the way for what his, 12 years of elementary school, before I graduated from high school would look like. So I didn't feel much like an only child. And I know sometimes that can make us a little selfish and self-centered. But I also had the other experience of understanding connection and being responsible for someone. So back to you at that time, you think you didn't want to be responsible because people need
it just
connection.
It felt like the opposite of that was freedom. And freedom to me just felt like, oh, okay, I don't have to ask anybody anything. I don't have to be tied to any, said commitments when you're in relationship. But really what I was doing was judging relationship from an immature place. I hadn't had a relationship that required me to be more. And so, nor did I want to be more in it, nor did I know how to be more in it. But there is freedom in relationship, which I was unaware of at that time.
Yeah.
And so it just feels good to be in a new day, able to see what is, I can't say necessary for a relationship, but what it is that I am able to bring and want to bring
Yeah.
to a relationship, and what it is that I'm expecting to receive. And everything isn't just one big, oh, we get together when we get together, you know. I think I must have heard that somewhere, a false tale as a child growing up. It's just like, let everything be easygoing. So, and in that it was, we're not going to address really hard topics, because then that would be too much.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to go with the flow with all of this. And really going with the flow has you flowing in the wind, you know, or flopping in the wind. So I'm glad that I'm here in a better space of understanding what relationship takes, but not only that, how you are rewarded.
Yeah. You know, you said that you thought you could just be free. And I think we all have had some time in our lives where we think freedom means no boundaries, no rules, no, I just do what I want to do. You know, that was me when it came to money. I didn't want a budget.
Oh.
A budget reflected bondage. But I was actually in bondage. And the truth is, I was in bondage to not having enough money ever. Because I thought I could just spend whatever I wanted whenever I wanted. And, you know, no boundaries, no rules, no anything holding us accountable really is a setup for, it's a recipe for disaster. And, you know, what I found in a budget, I mean, every millionaire, billionaire, or anybody who has sustainable income, there are rules. There are budgets. There are, because what you want to do is you want to protect the goal at the end. And here's the deal. We don't get to live in a situation where I say, well, there aren't any rules, but then there's rules for everything else. Once I say there are no rules, then there are no rules. That means when you go in your bank account, there's nothing going to be there. And so when we think about a relationship, it's the same thing in terms of, yes, there are some boundaries. Yes, there are some deliverables and some expectations. But we give and we receive. And so, you know, it's just, it's amazing, because I think many people today are thinking it's too hard. Let's talk about that, because you mentioned something about hard questions. What does that sound like? Hard questions or hard topics? In the past.
In the past, it just felt like, what for? Like we're coming together so we can have a good time and enjoy ourselves, and everything else in life is so hard. Relationship should be easy, or being in relationship with someone should be easy, when that's not the truth. You get through the hard part so it can become easier. But it's the very reason I said that anything living requires attention, requires focus, because just because you place a plant somewhere doesn't mean it's going to keep living on its own. It needs to be watered. It needs to be tended to. It needs to have attention on it. And, you know, that is a microscopic a way of looking at it. But when we talk about people, it's a whole nother level of what it is that has to go in. Things change day to day.
Yeah. Well, you know, so let me be clear, because the metaphoric phrase, light as a rock, I think we speaking in metaphors. I want to speak in real terms right now.
Speaking in metaphors.
Yes, metaphors. Like, well, what are we talking about? Hard conversations, hard topics. For example, what? Now, let me, you're a very independent person. You like to go after what you want, get it done. How do you feel about, or how did you feel about asking, you know, your significant other, hey, I want to buy X, Y, and Z? How was that?
No, that was not.
Talk to me about that.
That's something that wasn't easy for me, being married and having a conversation about, you know, the purchase of anything if I was paying for it. So that was an issue.
Yeah, so you didn't want to have a conversation. I don't.
About
Now, was the conversation about whether or not you would buy it, or the method, or
no?
You just give us some examples.
Yeah,
I think you didn't want to talk about it at all. You just if I want to do something,
show up in it. Yeah,
ooh, come on now.
Yeah,
What is that about?
Well, the issue with being married and yet making your own money, which if you have a marriage and there hasn't been anything established where we have this bank account and we're all putting our money in it. I think with that particular situation, it was, I'm going to look at a car. I need to be out of the car that I'm in and into a new one by Monday. This is the weekend that I have to go test drive other cars. He was not available that weekend. I had to do what I had to do. So I went, I test drove the cars, I got the one that I wanted, and on Monday, I was out of an old car and in a new car. So I didn't want to or think to call the people and say, I need a week delay on getting out of the car and getting in a new car.
Yeah.
It just felt like something I had always done on my own and was highly capable of getting it done. The problem came in is I didn't have a conversation about it.
Right.
I just went and did it and okay.
But you did have a conversation, because the conversation
in the very beginning
was, we're gonna, hey, this is something we could, I love your opinion. Or, okay, so you go from wanting someone's opinion to,
you know what, I wanted it, now I don't have time for it, because you don't have time to go with me on the time that I have to get it done.
Right. And so what was missing from
the conversation that could have taken place? Hey, I'm going to go because I'm running out of time. I only have Saturday and Sunday to get this done. So I hope that you're okay with that.
Now, do you think sometimes today in relationships, because that seems like an easy conversation to have.
Yeah.
But it also seems like it's a conversation that could spark a debate. Where, because you've already made the decision, I don't have any more time, I'm going to go. But then the person may say, well, just ask for 2 more days. And then you may decide, well, I don't want to ask for 2 more days. And there is the, yeah.
That's
so how does that, do you think you already made the decision? And so therefore you didn't talk about it? Or
probably.
And had you already made the decision that even if you did talk about it, you were still going to do what you wanted to do?
Yeah, because I was basically saying, this is what I'm about to do.
Got it.
So therein lies the issue of, someone who is independent, as you said, and also not needing, I didn't need him to co-sign.
Right.
I didn't need his money for a down payment or anything of the such. And so, yeah, that was thinking about it now, it feels like, okay, that should have just been a conversation to have taken place. Now you're adding another layer of understanding, because so it's me bringing it up to talk about it.
Yeah.
Not to say, this is what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't ready to do that then.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the Lyte Lynn Podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe and share.